it was just like a place where people sometimes wouldn't even come to get their hair done. They was just coming to hang out.
They come and sit in the salon just to hang out to see what was the latest.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Sweet Talk. I'm your host KP, and I am joined here today with stylist Sherica, owner of Wrap Styling Salon. We're going to talk about the seasoned stylist. This is the podcast everybody been waiting on. The seasoned stylist, and just talking about all the things that we, people miss when they used to go back in the day. So yes, welcome, Miss Sherica. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So how did you get into this industry?
Well, I wanted to be a nurse.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. That's not my field.
Did you try it out first, or you just
I worked at a doctor's office, and I was a unit secretary, and on the surgery floor, and the smell of abscess came up the hallway. I said, this is not for me. So, but at the time I was working at the hospital, I was going to hair school. I was in, how they have the classes in the high school, and I wanted to go over just to be at the college. Yeah. I did hair on the side, but didn't know I could do it like that. So when I got there, it just became something that was like, I was like, oh, I can do this. I like doing this, and just learning the different techniques and everything. Yeah. So I started off that way, doing hair. And then while I was in school for hair, I was working at the doctor's office. And like I said, I realized this is not for me. Yeah. I'm not going to doctor on people as far as medical, but I can doctor on your hair.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So how long, not to tell your age, how long you been doing it?
I'm 45.
So how long have you been in the beauty industry for?
This August 2025, it'll be 20 years.
Oh, wow. Dang. So
I had to calculate, and I was like, I've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah. It'll fly. It'll fly. So when you first started out, how has the industry then changed from then till now? Like what things have you noticed that are different? Because if we on social media a lot, we always see people talking about, we want the old school, the old hairstylist, or we want the, back in the day salons where it was open, where we could go in and have appointments. But, for me, when I look at it, it's like, I didn't grow up going to the hair salon, so I don't know how it was. I didn't go till probably one time on my 6th grade graduation. But, on the other hand, it's like, people were sitting in there all day. You didn't know when you were leaving. So, like, what has changed in your opinion from then to now?
Well, one of the things is come washed.
Oh, yeah.
When do we start coming washed and blow dried?
Listen.
I be like, that hair ain't clean.
Yes, because anybody that went to school, our teachers was like not playing about that. They was like, you washing hair. Even where I started out at, I was taught you wash hair first. Like, you always wash hair. So yeah, that has definitely.
That is a big change.
Yes.
That is a big change. But to each his own.
Yes.
But I don't shampoo your hair. But I remember growing up in the industry where we did sit all day. People will book about 5 or 6, washing sets, and then leave you with the cap on your head for about an hour and 30. That had been processed and conditioned a long time ago.
Yeah.
But just growing up, being in the salon, I remember sitting there, and I remember the feel of just women, just listen to older women talking and everything, and stuff I shouldn't have heard, but some stuff that I'm glad I did hear. And it was just a great atmosphere to be there. In this industry now, we take it more, we use it more for a business. It's not just a mom and pop salon. Yeah. We take this industry seriously. Yes. This is how we make our living. Yeah. And we want to succeed in what we're doing. It's not we want to sit behind a chair all our lives and do hair. Right. We want to just make impact in this community. we're still therapists.
Yes.
We're still psychiatrists.
Yes.
We do a lot to help our clients and whatnot. But as far as that, I can see that change from then to now. The styles are revolving. They come back around. Finger waves, French rolls.
French rolls, I never thought. I saw a post one day. It was like back in the day, people walked around like they was going to prom every day. Like they just had their French rolls all the time. Cramps, like twisting cramp, all of that is coming back. And like they say, like fashion repeats itself, or trends like that repeat itself. But yeah, that I agree. Like I said, I didn't grow up going to the salons because my mom always did our hair because she had 2 girls and she was like, I can't afford to go get your hair done. But when I started out, I remember it being more open and just, the conversations and people, it was just like a place where people sometimes wouldn't even come to get their hair done. They were just coming to hang out. They
come and sit in the salon just to hang out to see what was the latest news, the gossip.
Yes.
Who done did what, the who.
Yes. And and now it's more private, sweet. That's changed. Like people are more, like you said, in their own business. They're creating their own business. And I'm wondering then when people were doing hair, was it that mindset of this is a business for me versus like them just doing it and they don't really have a direction of it. They just know this is what I do. And now like we, because we got social media, you can become a content creator, beautician, all of those things. So yeah, I agree. That's definitely changed.
That's really, really changed.
Yes. Yeah. So what is your opinion on like how pricing and everything has changed as far as in this industry? Because, I know the pricing back then was
$25 shampoo set. Well, that was in North Carolina because that's where I'm from.
Okay.
So it was $25 shampoo set, roller set, press. Well, not so much of a press, but if you had short hair, little curls and stuff. But it's definitely has changed a lot.
Yeah. Because more time, I think that goes back to the business side of it. Like people started realizing that some of this stuff takes time. The value, the knowledge behind why you're doing what you're doing, and being able to pass that knowledge on to your clients. I think even just having like knowing that you don't want to do this forever. So you gotta set yourself up for that. And I do think that sometimes some prices can be outrageous or these added on prices that don't make sense. I've seen it.
You get this shampoo and set for, I'm just gonna throw a number out there, $40, and then you want me to cut your hair for $25, and then no. Let's start over. Yeah. Shampoo might be $25. Blow dry might be $30. So, haircut, and the next thing you know, you spending $90-something on somebody with hair about like this. Yeah, and it's ridiculous. Yeah, and it's like, it's almost like, what's that? The gouging? Like
yes.
Yeah. So are you gouging, or are you just, do you really know what you're doing?
Yeah, because in school we were taught a la carte. Yes, that's a thing, but to a certain degree, like you can't charge because, let's say they want you to bring, I don't know, or you had to use my product, so I got charged. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. Like it's some stuff is just a little like, come on now, and I think that people who are in this industry and have been in it a long time versus like the newcomers, and I think that we know like some stuff just don't have to be what it is, and you don't have to knock people head off, but you also want to make a profit too. So yeah, I think that the pricing now has gotten, has
and
changed.
The thing is, I understand some of the products that we do use. We use good products.
Good products, yeah.
We make sure that product is healthy for the hair and everything. And then the thing is, like with me, I don't use just one product.
Yes.
So you got, design essentials, and then you got this over here. I use all different types of products, and the products that I buy, they're pretty pricey. And with doing that, you you look at the time that it's going to take for you to do the hair, and you put all of that together. I know when we were in school, I had a teacher named Miss Frankie, and she would always say, call around or just see what everybody else's prices are, and then put your value on it.
Yes.
And so that's what I do. I put my value on it, because when you come in the salon, it's an atmosphere. It's an experience to come.
Yes.
And you're not coming just to sit there all day.
Right.
We have good conversation. I'm not quiet with you. I'm a talkative person anyway. So, our conversations and stuff, but I think I had you talking more than anything. But you get that experience. Yeah. And it's a one-on-one. So you're not sitting in there with, two other people where you can't come and say, hey, you know what? Yes. Can I ask you a question? Right. Can I talk to you about something? And then sometimes you might have a hair issue that everybody else don't need to hear about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I do stuff, I base it off of time. So if you're coming in for a shampoo and set, I might have that time scheduled just for you, not for you and the next person.
Right.
So, that has a lot to do with pricing as well.
It does. It does, because I remember when I first started out, I was in like open salon, and when I kind of started doing more stuff, I would have people say they want to come, but they got this hair issue and they don't want to be out in the open. And I realized like, I'm blocking a lot of clientele by just having it open. And I think that's when the salon suites was kind of starting to pick up. And I do agree that what you pay for is not just doing the hair. K18 costs $50. The shampoo, just the shampoo.
Yeah, she said, "You want to try this?" I said, "You got a sample. Let me try it out first."
I'm telling you, I was like, and so like, because we consider ourselves professionals, and that we are, we want the best products for your hair results and the things that come out and how your hair comes out. So to us, you come and washed, and I, you may have clients like, I washed it before I came and they may did a good wash, but just know the end result may not end well if you did it in your way and you didn't do it when we did it.
Did you use clarifying
Did you
shampoo?
clarify?
What's that?
I just use what's under my sink.
Get to the bowl. I will not. My name is on this. Yes. I will not.
Yeah. Like we can't. We value that, and it's important as to why. Like I think that sometimes maybe people feel like, okay, they paying, let's say $200. Y'all getting that whole $200. We don't like. That goes to something else.
That breaks down for products. That breaks down if you paying booth
utilities,
rent.
Yes.
And then if you own it, it's an overhead. So, out of that $200, we might be getting $75. And then you got to take that and add that up.
Yeah.
Then you got to pay yourself. You be like, dog, what in the world I done did?
Right.
So you're not trying to take it and make people feel like, oh, she costs too much, I'm gonna go over here. You got to know where your value lies. And know the stylists that you have, as they call us, beauticians.
Like apparently it's a difference. Beautician and a stylist.
They say, you a beautician? I'm not a beautician. I'm a stylist or hairstylist. But we take pride in what we do. We value our work, and nothing to come across you to make you feel like you coming in here spending your whole paycheck or whatnot. So, we come in, we got coffee, I'm gonna try to get a cappuccino.
That's a cost.
That's a cost and everything, little snacks and little stuff like that.
And it's of course complimented because, most people probably be like, well, you ain't have to we want you to have an experience. So if we're spending this to have for you, like, yeah, we gonna spend, but this is a part of the whole experience. And yeah, I love like going in, we clients sometimes too, like we go in and we get the experience how it is too. Like I want to feel like I ain't a stylist.
Why you go get your hair done? You can do it yourself. Oh, get my scalp shampoo too. Like I like the experience.
Yes,
we don't get to experience it all the time. So when we go, we like to, like when I come here and stuff, I'm like, oh, this is nice. She got water.
I ain't had no water in a while,
snacks and stuff. Now let me tell you, I ain't had snacks in a while because folk like to put stuff in their pocketbooks and take it home. baby, that's for him.
Right.
I'm
gonna get this.
She must need it, Lord. Animal snack. I'm gonna get some bananas and fruits. And stuff.
Yeah, you gotta eat it. Yeah, like that's the experience. So, going like even now, with us in this industry now, in this era, I've learned that services is great, but there's always been, but even more so now, more avenues for us to make money. Like outside of services, you got products, you can do classes, you can, do podcasts. It's so many other avenues. So do you think that, eventually maybe you'll like, I mean, of course, I know we all don't plan on always doing hair, but do you have like a plan of do you want to do something else or?
Oh yes, really? I definitely want to do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, I just got a shot in his arm this morning, so I definitely do something
your
else.
Your
body starts telling you, hey, it's time to kind of back down a little bit, and then you start thinking about your future. Okay, I'm 45, so at 55, what I want to be doing. Right. At 65, what I want to be doing because. And my leg's gonna allow me to stand up my knees and stuff like that, So there's definitely some other stuff that I want to do. Some stuff outside of the hair industry that I have a talent for that I want to broadcast that and show that too. Coming soon. So, but yeah, it's things you got to start thinking about your future. And like right now, I'm not married or whatnot, so I don't have a backup or a husband or anybody like XYZ. Yeah. And then, my girls and, one is graduated college, one getting ready to go to college. And then we got little Derek. He 9. We got a minute.
We got a minute to get you the little by then. You probably be feet kicked up.
Yeah. Not running around with the sports. But, with that being said, it's just, I want to do something that is going to have longevity. Yeah. And if I'm in here with you with a podcast, I got something else that's making me money while I'm sitting here. Exactly. I want different streams of income. Yeah. We're supposed to have different streams of income, not sitting here relying on one income.
If nothing else taught me that it was COVID 2020.
I was making wigs. I made crochet wigs, girl.
We was trying to be very creative.
Something. I sold a couple of them.
Because it's like, ooh, I didn't think about this. Like, that's when we really was like, oh, Lord, like, what we going to do? And I realized, like, okay, style, and this would have kind of went into my last question about, like, us and mentoring, like, younger stylists. But if I could tell any young stylist, have your stuff like legitimized, be a business, not just doing, I mean, if you're doing hair, you just want to do hair, you ain't gonna be doing it's just something on the side and cool, but if you want to pursue this, like, set yourself up for that, because you need to have proof for where you making this money from, how you eventually want to get a house, you want to retire, you want to get a car, you got to have proof of that. So you can't just kind of beat the system by, like,
handing it up under the table. Yeah. I got a 9 to 5, but then I'm doing hair, this, that, and the third. Yeah. You want all of that income because that's going to help you get where you need to get a business loan.
Yes. Business
and stuff
loans.
Like that. Yep. So, and I mean, don't nobody be wanting to file everything, but but it helps. It really does help. So yeah.
I mean, I'm sure for you, like, I gotta commend, like, a few stylists that I've seen put their kids through college off of they do hair, and I'm just like that. Even that, I'm sure you have to have that proof of to help them get to where they need to be. So that's it's so important to set yourself up for that, because COVID, I was like, Lord, what I need to do, I ain't done nothing else. And
that's all I know how to do. I worked at the hospital. That's all I had. So.
Yes. Man, and sorry y'all, my shop phone ringing right now. I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb.
My watch phone on here vibrating.
That's what I love about podcasts. They can be,
anything pop up.
Yes.
But COVID taught us a lot to be prepared. Yeah. And I was not, I'm be honest, I was not prepared. Yep. And to be out of work for 6 weeks. that was hard. But, the grace of God, oh my God, it was so many people that reached out to me. I had clients that paid me every week, like they came and got their hair done, or every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They paid me. And then I just had people just like, hey, I know you're independent, entrepreneur, and, here's some, this, that, and the other. And I was like, God, that ain't nobody but you.
We all got through it. Nothing but God. Yeah, for real.
But you best believe I put some stuff up. We come back. I had contracts, everything set up. Look, this is what we're going to do. If this happened, because I understood that none of us has been through this.
Right.
Even the ladies that I had in the salon at the time. I don't want to make nobody pay for something that they couldn't make on their own.
Right.
But I had some good, people, my landlords and everything. They took care of us. And stuff like that. So that's what made it possible. God made it possible.
For real.
He had to soften somebody's heart.
I'm telling you, because that was a rough time. I remember they just, at first it was like 2 weeks. I was like, oh, cool, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can do 2 weeks. I'm going to take out 2 weeks. Yeah. I done made a whole video. Yeah. I see I went 2 weeks.
And then, like, when it stretched, I was like, okay. And I remember years ago, I took a class, and it was she was a stylist too, and she was teaching us kind of like the business side. And now I look back, I'm like, that probably should have been preparing me for 2020. But I'll never forget, she said, as stylist, if you can't take 2 weeks off and come back and be good, then you ain't doing it. And I remember thinking that, because I was like, in the beginning, you do kind of have this I'll make it tomorrow mindset. Like, always, I can make that tomorrow. I can come in and I pay this real quick. I can just do this many heads, and that may be great in the time, but when something come up that you ain't prepared for, like 2020, and you can't take off and be comfortable, like, that really made me be like, okay, now I got to get my priorities together, because I just been clearly doing hair. And I think going from entrepreneur to CEO is different. Like, being an entrepreneur, we work, we make our money, but being a CEO, we can step back and direct and delegate and not have so much to do. And I think it's, even when we in this industry now our mindsets are going towards that. Like you said, like, eventually you want to be able to, not be behind a chair and do other things, so that this can be something extra versus being the main thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. If I was to tell any young person that's starting in this business, it's so easy to be like, I don't want to go in today. And I had to train myself to be like, what the Bible said, and don't work, don't eat. But I had to train myself to be like, this is my job. This is my 9 to 5 job. And if I don't go into work, I don't have this to do this and do that. Right. You have to train yourself. And also, don't look at it as, okay, I work Tuesday. Oh, I can, I made this little bit of money, and you spend it and it's gone. You wait until the end of your pay period, which is, what's that, Friday, if you don't work on Sunday, and you count what you made. And then you, like I said, you got bills, you gotta distribute this out, and then you gotta pay yourself for the week. Right. And then you gotta put back, and you gotta save. And if you don't do that, and you be like, oh, I got a little quick weave tomorrow, whatever, I'll make that little quick $100, whatever, and this and the third. You can't do that. Yeah. Because, like, your tire blow out,
they might cancel.
Honey.
And now you thought you was going to make that.
Yeah, let's talk about this cancellation. Why would you Jesus?
Yes.
Y'all give us a 24-hour notice.
Seriously.
At least 12, I can understand in the mornings, because sometimes you wake up in the morning, you get sick. You don't never know or whatnot.
Like the other morning, I had a screw in my tire. So, you never know when something's going to happen. I get it. We get it.
Yeah, we get it.
But, like, it's not even that we dependent on it, but it does kind of throw off your day, for sure.
And it throws off your day, and it throws off it. Let's talk about this money. It throw off your money.
It throw off your money.
Because you looking to make a certain amount, but at the same time, you still have to be mindful and remember that, people do get sick and this and other. So it's a give and take. Yeah. $50, $100. So you have to be like, okay, so I'm supposed to make, I'm just going to say just $500 this week. I'm going to say I'm going to make a good, 400 just in case somebody cancels or 350 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's hard putting somebody in that spot
at the last minute.
To, you can't throw it out there because then, like, let's say it's at 9:00 and they cancel, and then you like, you might throw on Facebook, I got 9:00. They're like, can I be there at 9:30? Like, no, because if you that late,
it's gonna throw the rest of my day off.
So I can't do that.
Like, what you get?
Yes. Like it's a science to this, y'all. I'm telling you, it is. And I'm sure people want to, they like in rebuttal to that is, well, what if y'all late? Well, we gotta get a discount too, and it's like. That's a science too, because I hate to give away our secret, but it's like you have to show grace in certain areas. If you're a client that you run a little late, and I'll be like, okay, but you might tip or whatever, and be understanding that sometimes I might be late and you ain't like
or running behind.
Like we there's a grace in that, and we try to be fair, but at the same time, this is why I always say, it's you kind of just at the end of the day have to stick to your policy regardless, because what you don't want is for people to feel like you're making favoritism
for this one and this one. Well, I talked to so and so,
right? And she said you get her, and this we gotta.
I said, there go your grace.
Trying to help you out. You'd be like, don't tell nobody I told you that, but no, it's we really do try to stick to the plan and the policies, because I don't ever want people to think, but in some cases, like the same way we want to be shown grace,
we show other people grace, because stuff happened. We have kids. Somebody got sick. The school line took forever. It was a car wreck. We couldn't get there or anything like that. So, please have grace on me.
Right.
Because I'm if I call out sick, y'all know I'm sick. I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there.
I honestly don't know how often. I very rarely have to cancel on my clients. Like, unless I am sick, or I had to learn with my kids, because I used to try to negotiate that. Like, I can still come in, hold on, let me figure something out. And I'm like, no, when my kids need me,
they need
me. And I can't, do that. And they'll be like, well, you can bring him in. Yeah, but that, like, my youngest one, he wants to be up under me. So it's a grace that has to be shown on both sides. Like, yes, when you dealing with a stylist that's professional, they gonna probably be like, girl, I'm so sorry, I was 20 minutes behind. Either this, I'll take this off now, or maybe later, or the next one. Not all stylists are like that. What we see on social media, where they just, or I'm late, or I ain't showed up. You don't
get a refund.
We
fighting.
Why
y'all fighting?
Ooh, I done seen it all. I just be shocked sometimes. Like, people really out here doing this, and it makes it's like we don't all want to be put in this box.
We don't want to be stereotyped.
No.
Yeah.
But like I mean, and I'm starting to believe that stylist trauma is a thing now, because you can tell, like, even when I have new clients, sometimes I could tell they be on like offense or defense, whichever one. Like, they feel like they've had so much trauma that they just like, are you another one?
Yeah. And they're like, I don't like coming to salons because I have to sit here all day, or I gotta pay a deposit of pretty much half of my service before I get the chance to come. And I'm like, no, that's not me.
Yes.
That's not here.
Right.
We don't do that. Yeah. Just sit back and relax. And when they leave, they're like,
this was a good experience.
This was good.
Like, this was finally somebody. And honestly, I was just explaining this to a client. I was like, I'm like, most people would say, you always book. And I'm like, well, y'all the one referring them. And then when they come, they want to stay. And then now they staying.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, y'all. I done pull up my thing. Yeah. But, I mean, it makes me glad to know that people like come and they be like, okay. And I'm sure it's been people who didn't have a good experience. There might have been a day, I'll never forget this time I don't know what was going on this day. I was I had a client booked, and I think at the time my sister didn't have a car, and I had to go take her to work. She lived way out far from my shop, and I had let the lady know, but it was just a mess that day, and that was her first time coming to me, and I remember like she was not happy at all, but understandably so, and I think that I had to realize then, like, just prioritizing certain things and make sure I say no to certain things, but it's just people, when you come, you just don't, want people to think you just like all these other people they see online.
Right.
It's not like that at all.
Because this is an experience here, but I do come with some boundaries.
Oh yeah.
I do come with some boundaries.
You definitely have to have boundaries,
because you have somebody come in there and they put down for a wash and said, "Can you add color? Can you add a haircut?" I said,
it's a process.
I work basically solely off of time. So, if I have time or somebody, or if I'm moving a little faster than I normally would have, and I have time to slap some color on there, I can help you out, but it might not happen all the time.
Right.
And somebody got upset last week, and, I'm like, well, I can get you next time because you didn't even have that on there. Why you mad with me? I love you, though. Right. See you too.
Yeah. Right. Like, it really is. And it's just, you have to have boundaries. Because burnout is real. And if you, again, like I said, that's why we try best to stick to policies. And like I said, circumstances change. This time you may have been able to throw a little color on there and I had the time. This time I may not have that same time. So it's just having those boundaries and making sure you sticking to them, because it just makes the whole thing flow a little more smoother than normal. So like, it's a lot has changed.
A lot has
over the years.
Most of my older clients, my seasoned clients, they said, make my appointment. I ain't got time to go on no online booking this and booking that, remembering passwords. And I said, before you leave, let's get you on the books.
Because that is one thing I didn't bring up, but that has changed. People wrote down. They call in and wrote down, and how I explain it now to people. Let's set this scenario. Back in the day, you in a chair, somebody else calling the stylist to get their hair done, and they got to stop. All right, what time you want? Oh, that don't work for me. What about this day? Oh, no, that don't work for me. What about this day? And then you finally get to a conclusion of a day. That's
what 10
minutes on that call versus now. Somebody booked, and I'm still on your head. We still talking. We ain't and I now what's the kind of the same as then is people may call if they have questions and stuff like that. But I mean, we can knock that out in a couple of minutes or whatever while you're doing the hair. But I think the online thing is definitely
is the best thing ever.
It is.
Because like you said, by the time you spend 10 minutes trying to make this appointment, this don't work, don't work, and you in the middle of a relaxer or something like that. I always tell my clients, it's better for you going there and see what days work for you. Right. So that way you can say, you know what? She got this available. She got that available. Right. And that works so smoothly. Now, if you have a question or want to put something in the notes, you can do that. And then also what I've started doing too, I know my clients be calling to my, she ain't answering the phone, is the fact that I wait unless it's an emergency, like a back-to-back phone call. Right. I wait until I'm done with that client or put the client on the dryer. Then I'll call you back, text you back real quick. Because I want that client that's in my chair to experience, have a good experience and not say, go back in the day, they used to smoke in the salon.
Really?
Cigarettes. Girl.
And you get your hair done.
They got that phone on the wall.
So how you finna go home?
Oh my God! But back in the day, they used to. There was no policy, state board, nothing.
That's wild.
When I tell you, I was about 7, girl. I done experienced a lot.
Your hair will come out and you smell like smoke. You gotta go home and wash it again.
But they didn't care nothing about that. Cause everybody in there, if you smoke a cigarette, you can smoke you a cigarette.
That's
wild. It's different.
It is.
It's very, very different.
And I think the online, like you said, I don't know, like you got one schedule hours up against, I don't know, I'm just going off of my thing, because I mean this is over the course of years, 300 something people schedules, so I can't make my schedule match in individual schedules. I'm sorry, like this is mine and this is how it is. And like online, it gives that freedom of all of the back and forth. If it's here, it's here. If it's not, it's not. And just knowing, like, you know, for us, it's not taken away from the person in the chair. That's the main thing, because you don't want them to feel like, well, she was on the phone the whole time. She didn't even talk to me, you know.
Now, sometimes I might have to be like, look, I'm put this earpiece in right quick. This is important. Right. And I, you know, without letting them know what's going on, especially if I'm trying to work out something with a doctor's appointment or something like that. Like,
yes.
Hey, you know.
Because sometimes we don't have that time unless we take a day off, but most times we have to do that while we're working, which is the beauty of it too. And what was I gonna say? How we just I just lost my train of thought. That's part of being a mom. But just being able to, you know, have that freedom and not feel like, oh, that's what I was gonna say. You know, even at school, I don't know if they taught this at every school, but I know for us it was like knowing how to read the room. Sometimes I have clients that don't talk. They chill. They don't have a long night, and I get it. Like I'm never offended. As a matter of fact, that gives me time in my mind to map out all the stuff that I got to get done. But I, you know, some people might be like, I'm sorry if I'm not talking. Like, you ain't gotta apologize to me. Like, and I think, don't you have that as a quiet service, right? Like you have
I have a quiet service.
Yeah.
So like
I thought that was neat. I saw it on there and I was like, that is so neat.
I have I don't know who is calling me, and it is, I don't even know that number, but jeez. Okay. So but I do have a quiet time service. So you have people that been stressed out, stuff going on with them or whatnot. The quiet service it's like a 2 to 3 hour thing, to where, like, say for instance, you have a client that has alopecia or you have a client that have a disability and they, you know, don't want to be in there, or just a person that just want to have just quiet time.
Yeah.
They get to book that for themselves. Now that I have new stylists in the salon, I might have to go back and kind of create another different quiet style, because mostly everybody's there from Monday through Saturday. Okay. Now. So it's either I do something later in the evening or I do something on a Sunday, you know. That service is where you come in, you can have no more than 3 ounces, because I ain't gonna 3 ounces or something, you know, like a wine or something, or a favorite fruit or whatnot. And it's just music, whatever music you want to listen to. And it's just me and you on that one-on-one time without anybody else in the salon. Because a lot of people now, it's so much anxiety and so much, you know, it's depression and so much stuff going on that people are having to deal with in everyday life situations. And sometimes they just need that peace and quiet.
Yeah, because I like that you have it for them to at least book it, because sometimes if they come in, you can't really know, like, do they, you'll start a conversation, but you don't really know, like, do they want to talk, or they just, you know, but to know that they can have it, you like, okay, I know, like, just ask the questions I need to ask, because you got people that deal with that. You got moms who their kids been yelling all week. They need peace and quiet. You got people who work in a chaotic work setting or whatever the case is. And honestly, sometimes that's that peace that they need to just relax and be zen.
Yeah, be themselves.
Yeah.
Just let go and everything. Yeah. And so with, like, certain people have, like, these jobs that are just, they're just so demanding, so demanding of who they are, you know. So it's good to have something where they can just have a little peace and quiet and whatnot. I think I came about that. I think it was a lady, she had to bring her child or something to the salon, and he was crying. I said, somebody needs some peace.
Right. That's another thing. So what, like, I've seen where some people don't allow people to bring their kids. I'm okay, because the place that I'm at, like, I have toys because my kids come. I haven't always had a place like that, but I think I've always been okay with it, only because I remember seeing one time a mom went and got her hair done, and they had a no kid policy, and she left a kid in the car. Yeah, it was like she let the little girl in the car, and I was like, yeah, I just wouldn't be getting my hair done,
right,
or find somewhere, and I know that some people, and I get it, kids, they kids, they gonna be destructive, they gonna touch stuff, and if you have a nice salon, and also not even about that, it's just about other people may be in there that need that peace and quiet. They getting away from their kids.
I gotta come here and deal with your children.
So like I've always told moms, like, don't ever feel like you can't bring your kid. I know for them, they like, I don't want to, but if you have to, that is never a policy of mine.
At one time I used to say no kids. No kids unless being.
Oh, y'all.
So my son finna call me back in a minute.
We about to wrap it up.
With the thunder.
Thunder scared me.
The Lord said no kids.
You like, what y'all saying? Because y'all my kids.
Y'all my kids. I make way for you. But I used to have that policy, but now it's if you do have your child with you, as long as you can handle that child, and as a stylist, have different stylists in there. So if you have a client that has to bring her child, as long as you and that stylist, y'all take. If I got to come in the middle of it, it's
I hate to be a bad person.
I hate to be there,
right?
But so far everything's been good.
That's good.
So I don't have an issue with you bringing your kids because I was a single. I'm still single, but a single parent, and sometimes you have to bring your kids. Yeah. But I know how to make mine sit in mine.
Yes.
Tablet, this and the other. Snacks. You got your snacks. You got your water. We done went to the bathroom.
Yes. Yep. I agree. So is there any advice you give out to, I know you gave one, but any advice you give to somebody up and coming?
Up and coming, get all the education you can possibly have, because we still learn. You need to stay relevant.
Never ending.
You need to stay relevant, but do not allow people to put you in a box to where you need to do this. If you're a hairstylist, you need to do all of this. Right. If all you want to do is some color, that's what you do. Yes. If all you want to do is a haircut, that's all you
just
do.
Master that, and you can be that. You can can ride that out.
And if you decide you want to, let me just tag along and do something else different in the hair industry, you can do that. But don't allow anybody to put you in a box. Yep. Because they will put you in. Clients will put you in a box because it's to satisfy their own needs instead of what you.
Yep. Like I always say, if it's one service that one person is asking for, not everybody's asking for, I'm probably not gonna add that because you the only one asked for it.
You the only one. But I'm tell you, let me tell you something. One thing about me and KP. We're going to send, I don't do this. Yes. Let me give you KP number.
Yeah. And then they call,
let me give you Ashley number. Let me give you Brandy number. We passing numbers back and forth. Because
we know between one of them, you going to get what you need. And I'd rather you go to somebody who know what they're doing. And that's what they do. Because I know how to do color, but I don't like to do colors. But that's why I always send them.
She done said somebody, she said, girl, I said, I got somebody who needs some dreads, but she needs some color. I don't do no color. I said, Lord, you do the dread. I do the color, you do the dread.
Yes, see, tag team, see?
Yeah, and that's a good thing to do. I used to call this thing when I used to post stylists for stylists. We do things, for each other and with each other and stuff like that. There's room for everybody.
It is.
Nobody's in competition with nobody. Let me tell you, now back in the day, I know we're finna wrap up, but back in the day, there was so much competition between stylists. Now I'm from North Carolina. I've seen that. I can't say for here or whatever, but I saw that. And even online, you still see stuff like that. And it's like, I appreciate everybody's work because everybody has something different to bring to the table. Yeah. And I remember I used to work in Brandy's shop. I used to sit there and just admire her.
Oh, yeah.
I sit there and watch her.
I tell when I didn't have one client, I just sit in there and watch.
You need me to do something?
I can sweep the air a little bit. And I remember, I think one lady asked me, can you do, she wanted something done. I was like, I can't do that. That, yes, I admire other people's work. And I always say, it's good to get you, personally, if you're a client, get you a good 3 stylists that do your braids, your natural hair, and whatever color if you do color.
Or something like that.
But like everybody is specialized. Not one stylist don't expect them to do everything. It's not. There are some like that, but find you the specialties and stick with them. And then that way you know you can go. Because
when we book.
Yeah,
you need to find
you gotta find somebody.
You gotta have somebody else.
You gotta have a backup because you don't want to. You just don't ever know what could happen. And most times it's because we booked, and you just want to make sure you have some option. Like you just want to have a backup. So it's like, yeah, don't expect your stylist to do everything. I know y'all trust us.
Because I'm gonna send my lace fronts between her and Ashley,
and I'm trying to get away from her. I honestly ain't done them in a while though. I do them, but I feel like people are even getting away from lace.
With the stairs we got going on.
Yeah,
this half cost of like we can't get it.
I used to joke about that. I used to tell people like, when I knew I wanted to do natural hair, I'd be like, y'all better start taking care of your natural hair because you never know when the hair and when COVID happened, we really couldn't order no hair.
Couldn't order no hair, couldn't go to no store.
People was reviving old wigs.
Thank you, Lord.
Like it was a rough time.
What am I gonna do? Go to Walmart. They open. Get you blow dry and some shampoo.
Ooh,
get you some shampoo. Yeah. Let me tell you what kind to get.
Yep.
Hey,
YouTube. That opened up some opportunities because I think I even FaceTime some people and we did it on the phone and people even now like I remember you showed me how to shampoo my hair through FaceTime and how to do it right, how to trim through FaceTime and like that was a business of its own. I should have been kicked up right now.
Yeah, I don't know about that trimming though, but that shit.
Yeah, trimming was like some people. I say this: if you were comfortable enough with doing hair initially, like but if you ain't, don't get them.
Don't put them scissors down.
The Frisco, what's them scissors? The Frisco, the kid scissors.
The one that cut the paper. Put them scissors down. They ain't cut no hair.
Shears, guys.
Shears.
Look, this is us all the time.
All the time.
Man, it's so funny. But okay, we finally wrapping it up. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I promise it won't be so long before we have another episode. So, bye.
Bye.